Welcome to the show. It is I, Jim Lettuce, your fearless leader. This is the Temporary Space Show, where technology and entertainment collide, where I can basically rant and rave about the stuff I want to talk about, and my friends don't really want to listen, and I understand, so I just started a podcast. You want to hear me talk about this kind of stuff? Stay tuned. Please check out our website, TemporarySpaceStudios.com. Please check out LetUsWearClothing.com. Buy a shirt. It helps us out. It should be in the link for the episode description. The podcast description, it only does the Acast link because I'm too cheap to pay for it. But anyways, you get the idea. Check it out. So let's get started. I have so many links. It's crazy. Basically, throughout the month, I just find articles that I like, that I want to talk about, technology/entertainment type stuff. We'll try to get through most of it. I've learned that if I go over an hour, I have to lower the quality of the MP3, which I don't want to do. I can if I have to. Honestly, it's hard to tell the difference, but I'm a perfectionist. I'm OCD, so I want it to be good. But, it is what it is. Anyways, let's get through the... usually at the beginning, I kind of talk about, the vlog. I don't really make a vlog anymore. That's not to say I won't do it in the future, but right now, I'll cover all the stuff I would do in a vlog in the first 10-15 minutes of the podcast. So first thing I want to talk about is Target. I went to the Target store. It's too expensive, okay? I bought a belt, khaki pants, and a pack of underwear. And it was $90. Are you kidding me? This is crazy. Groceries are expensive. Buying regular stuff is expensive. Man, this economy, man, I sure hope it gets better. Otherwise, we're just going to have to step it up, make more money. Speaking of money, I spent a fair amount on this new barber. So, full disclosure, I got a new job. It's in the insurance industry. And, oh, that's my pizza. I got a pizza coming. Hell yeah. Anyways, I got a new job. It's in the industry of insurance, and it's pretty cool, actually. I was so ready to leave my old job that I didn't even think about whether or not I would like this new job. But I actually kind of like it. I kind of like how insurance works, how there's all these little rules about what gets covered, what's not, different things you have to do based on their rules. It's actually kind of interesting. So go figure, right? It is like a real job, like a job, okay? I have a security badge. I have to dress up when I go to the office. It's actually work from home, mostly. I go to the office once a month. It's pretty cushy, though. It's not easy. They pay me for a reason, and I like it, but it's definitely a challenge. But working from home, man, that's the main reason I took the job, because I knew that working from home is a good long-term solution. First of all, because my back injury from last year, and I also want to buy a dog. I'm trying to get a dog and a cat. I already had a cat before. I'm a cat person myself, but I really want to get a dog as well. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you updated. But basically, I got a new job. Very exciting. And for this new job, I wanted to get a haircut. So I went to this old school barber, and I spent $60. It was pretty expensive. I really don't think it was worth all the money, but it is what it is. I wanted that experience of an old school barber. I didn't want to go to Great Clips where they mess your hair up for $20, but I also didn't want to spend a fortune at some salon where they also mess your hair up, but it costs you like $80. So this was a good middle ground, $80, or it was 60. It was like $60 total. It was like 50 something, but I gave the guy a $10 tip, so you know, it is what it is. I guess I'll go back. I have to go back into the office next week, so maybe I'll get a haircut before then. I really don't want to spend $80 a month on a haircut, but, you know, it is what it is. So that's about it for the whole vlog section. Let's get to the articles. So, like I said, I go through and I save articles that interest me so I can talk about them and rant and rave, because my friends don't really want to listen to me talk about it, but I do want to talk about it. So that's half the reason the podcast exists. Am I right? So let's go through the first one. First one is NVIDIA's G Assist. It's an AI chatbot that guides you through game optimization on your PC. So when I was back in the day, right, you had a game and you had to tweak all the settings to make it work on your PC. If you had a lower end PC, you had to turn off the shadows, lower the anti-aliasing and textures and whatnot to make it run well. Well, now NVIDIA is like, yo, we got a whole AI chatbot that'll just do it for you. And I'm a big fan of AI. I think it's cool if it works. I have a feeling it's gonna suck. It reminds me of like the auto. Before all this, they had like this setting where you could just pick like auto adjust settings per your system and everything, and it takes into account your internet connection and all this BS. I'm a millennial, so my experience with automated things and robotics and AI is not that good. So I'm skeptical of this. It could work. I think it's a good, like an assistant, you know, have it there, but you're still going to tweak it for your preferences. You know, take its suggestions, but then once it's all said and done, go in and double check it. Tweak a few things. You might have a better idea of what you want. Okay. Then we're going to try to get through all these articles, but to be honest, I've learned that if I have to make it over an hour, then I have to lower the quality of the MP3 for Acast, and I don't really want to do that, even though you can't really tell a difference. I'm kind of OCD, and that's just how I roll. So we're going to, when we get to an hour, I'm just going to cut it off. But anyways, let's move on. So China launched a mission for the moon to gather samples. It landed on the far side of the moon. So if you're not into astronomy, basically the moon rotates, and the way it rotates and spins, we only see like the front of it. We don't see the back of it. And they call that the dark side of the moon. There's a whole Transformers movie that insinuates that Transformers are on the dark side of said moon. Very interesting. We don't have a lot of info, not a lot of data, but China was like, hold my beer. We're going to land a lunar rover, kind of like how we do with Mars, right? China was like, oh, I think my pizza's here. Give me a second. Okay, the pizza has been delivered. I got my sweet ass cinnamon sticks as well because I'm addicted. It is what it is. Anyways, let's continue on. So, they launched a rover on the far side of the moon. They took rock samples, and I think they're actually examining those rock samples as we speak. I might find an article later because I just saved them as I go. They're not really organized, so I might talk about this later, but it's very interesting because we don't have a lot of data about the dark side of the moon, only the light side, I guess. And there's a lot of moon activity. I spoke about this last episode, how America was the first, then China, India did one, and then Japan, they launched one that failed, but then they launched another one that worked, I think. Very exciting. Innovation and whatnot. Let's move on. I have an article talking about GTA 6, how the console market cannot be overstated. So basically, the consoles and the video game industry are not doing that well because the economy and all that jazz. But GTA 6 is actually a very big deal because they really need people to adopt the new consoles. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X or whatever. And if people don't do it, it's not good because there's still people rocking PS4s and Xbox, like the Xbone, like the Xbox One. And the industry is like, bruh, upgrade, right? So that's all it's really talking about. I'm excited for Grand Theft Auto 6. We'll see how it goes. All right, the next article is about Boeing, the Starliner crew launch into space. So they are actually stuck. There's a lot of stuff going on with Boeing. There's said to be quality control issues. And there was a few witnesses that were going to testify. The main witness mysteriously committed sushi, right? And then another witness died of a rare bacteria disease. So if you ask me, I would be worried if I was a witness. We'll put it that way. Somehow Boeing is still releasing stuff. They're still making new planes. I was talking to my buddy. We're going to try to plan a trip to Japan. And I was like, yo, I want to make sure our plane is not a Boeing, though. The problem is Boeing has, like, a huge share of the market. Most of the planes are Boeing. So it's a bit nerve-wracking. I guess we'll see how it goes. Alright, now let's talk about the streaming wars. Max, which is formerly known as HBO, they raised their prices. I think Netflix did like 6 months ago. I just want to think out loud about all this streaming wars, how Netflix is still winning. All the other services are straggling, but I think Max is going to stay. Disney Plus is going to stay and be a player because they have Disney money, right? I don't know about Paramount Plus. There's definitely a few more Paramount Plus articles in here because Paramount was like going bankrupt. They might get bought out by somebody, but then it fell through. I don't really remember, but it's a lot of action going on. So the Max is going up by $1, $15 to $16 a month, $16.99, so $17, right? I recently reactivated my Max because I wanted to watch Game of Thrones. As soon as Game of Thrones is over, sorry, House of Dragon. As soon as that is over, I'm actually going to cancel my Max. I'm thinking about doing the same thing with Amazon Prime so I can watch the Fallout show. We'll see. We'll see if consumers like this or not. So full disclosure, I'm paying for the $20 HD 4K whatever version. I kind of want to do that for Netflix, even though technically I have Netflix, like my mom. I have her account, so I don't really pay for it. I don't know if I would pay for it without. I mean, I guess I would because I have the Netflix podcast with Miles. But if I ever do, it'll be the 4K version because I'm constantly annoyed by the low quality bit rate of Netflix. But, you know, I'm kind of OCD. I'm a YouTuber. I want that 4K 60, right? But, you know, we'll see how it goes. So we got a Johnson & Johnson update. Don't care. Let's skip that. What is this? Quantum leap in the fifth state of matter. You know what? I've decided that I don't really want to talk about that, so we're going to skip that one. Like I said, I got about an hour. I have a million articles here. We're not going to get through all of them. My goal is to try to do this in under an hour. We're about 15 minutes in, so, you know, we'll see. I'm not making any promises. I lost my place. So, hold on. I'm scrolling back up. Okay, let's talk about Kevin Costner. So, there's a lot of controversy. He was in Yellowstone, the hottest new TV show in the last 5 years. It's kind of a Western. It's set in modern day. It's about this family in Wyoming that's trying to keep control of the Yellowstone National Park. And it's by Taylor Sheridan, who's this new auteur on the scene in the last about 8 years. He's known for making these, you know, gritty, realistic dramas, usually involving law enforcement and or the Native American population. And he did Yellowstone, right? That's the big one. I like it. It's kind of like it's like Game of Thrones, but on a ranch. So if you like that kind of stuff, but you want to see a bunch of, you know, cowboys, that's your show. And there's a lot of controversy because Kevin Costner started being difficult, allegedly. He started being difficult on the set and butting heads with Taylor Sheridan, and he wanted to, like, not film a lot of scenes. Like, he wanted to stay in his trailer but still get paid a lot. And Taylor Sheridan's a very, like, go-getter, we're gonna do the work type of filmmaker. So he's like, yo, we're making this show, are you gonna do it or not? And it came out later that Kevin Costner is actually going through a divorce. I think as of this recording, which is June 30th, 2024, as of this recording, his divorce was finalized. But apparently he was trying to not work as much so that he didn't have to pay her in the divorce settlement, which I can relate to. I've seen multiple friends get totally screwed over by divorce, you know, child support type stuff. Like, we support kids, but sometimes it gets a bit crazy and they have to pay all this money and they don't really make that much. So I think that's what he was dealing with, and he was like, I'm over the show. I don't want to be making tons of money. I'm going to have to pay. But the reason I bring all this up is because he actually had another project where he was trying to make this Western called Horizon. And it's some kind of show, movie thing he's been trying to make for like 20 years. And he saw an opportunity and he said, screw Yellowstone. I want to make this epic Western. Now, fast forward, the movie has come out. It says chapter 1, so I guess there's a part 2. Apparently it sucks, and it's not making any money. And when I first saw it, the trailer, I thought, okay, this is cool, but it doesn't look that good. I'm not going to go to the movie to see it. And other people have the same mentality. It's flopping. Okay, so it cost $100 million, which is actually pretty cheap these days. Warner Brothers is doing the release. They only made $40 million opening night, which is terrible. So if you don't know about filmmaking and all that jazz, basically they spend twice as much of the production budget on posters and advertising, which is just ads, okay? And so that means if they spend $100 million on the movie, they're going to spend $200 million on advertising. So that means the movie needs to make like $300 million just to break even. And a buddy of mine I used to roll with, he always said the industry is eating itself, and he's right. That's what's happening. It's sad to see American Hollywood go on this road. Other countries, Hollywood, like Bollywood, they're soaring. And I think we were just, we were spoiled in the 90s by the Hollywood, American Hollywood. And it's just sad to see that this movie sucks. I'm from Texas. I like Westerns, but it looks boring. The trailer looks meh. There's no other stars besides Kevin Costner. I think Sienna Miller is in it, and she's actually... Okay, she was a big star back in the day. She was real hot. She dated Jude Law. Remember Jude Law cheated on his wife with the housemaid? She's the wife, okay? And lately, she's been doing a lot of these, like, drama roles. So I think it's cool that she's kind of got a resurgence in her career. So she's the other star in it. She plays his wife, I think. But we got Kevin Costner, Sienna Miller, and that's it. I think one of the villains is a guy who might have been a villain in Twilight. I don't really know. The point is, there's not a lot of stars in this movie, so no one cares. I don't care. I want stars. Robert Eggers, the guy who did The Witch, he's making a new vampire movie, and it's got stars. It's got Nicholas Hoult. It's got the Craven guy, the guy from Kick-Ass. What's his name? And it's got, he might be the new Bond. Hold on, I gotta look this up. What is that guy's name? Hold on. Craven actor. Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's a rising star. I think he might be the next James Bond. And I've talked about it before. I love Aaron Taylor Johnson. I don't think he's old enough to be Bond, but it is what it is. If I was casting Bond, I'd want a young guy who could do like 8 movies. So we'll see. But he's in it. Nicholas Hoult. We have, what's the Green Goblin actor? I forgot his name. Willem Dafoe. I don't know if he actually plays the actor. I think he plays the Van Helsing type guy. It actually looks a lot like Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola version. So we'll see. Honestly, I'm down. I want to watch it. But who knows? We'll see how it goes. Okay, give me a second. The next thing I want to talk about is Kevin Costner's movie Horizon, this Western. So, backstory. He was doing Yellowstone, like the big new show that everybody loves, right? It's pretty good. It's kind of like Dallas. If you don't know Dallas, think of it like Game of Thrones, but on a ranch. That's a good way to put it. Anyways, there's a hotly anticipated season 5 coming out, and all this stuff went down, and Kevin Costner and the director started bumping heads, and Kevin Costner announced, this was like a year ago now, but he made an announcement. He said, you know what, I'm just going to leave Yellowstone. And it was a big deal, and part of the reason he left, I think he was going through a divorce, but the other reason he did this is because he's been trying to make this movie some kind of epic Western, and he's been trying to make this movie for like 15 years. And this movie is Horizon. I watched a trailer. It looks okay. It's like frontier justice kind of thing. It looks okay. I thought there'd be a lot more movie stars in it. You know, if Kevin Costner, he's still a big star, he's going to make a big Western, I would assume the other people in it would be big stars. But as far as I can tell, there's no big stars in it. So it looks kind of like a independent film in a bad way. Like, it looks lower budget, I guess. And you'd think, I guess maybe $100 million is a low budget now for a big movie. But I do recognize one of the villains is, he was a vampire in Twilight. So, yeah. That's the only guy I recognized. And apparently, I'm not alone. A lot of people didn't watch it. It came out, and it only made... What? No, that's a Quiet Place. This article's talking about other movies, too. Hold on. Okay, so the movie cost $100 million, but their opening night, they only made 12. So it's kind of like stock market stuff where, to a degree, they can predict what's going to happen, kind of like what they do with prediction models with weather, same way. They're not always right, but they can kind of give you an idea. And when your opening movie is not blowing down the doors, it's not a good sign. And, alright, apparently Warner Brothers distributed it. I mean, they should have had it come out right around the time Yellowstone came out, because they'll be all hot on Kevin Costner. Alright, the rest of us talks about A Quiet Place. I almost want to make a whole episode about the Quiet Place franchise. There's like 4 of them now. Okay, let's move on. Alright, so they're remaking Twister. In the 90s, they had a movie about tornadoes. But the big deal was that it was the first time, not the first time, but when I was a kid, this was one of the big movies where we were like, oh my gosh, the tornadoes are computer generated with special effects, graphics. Like, it was still kind of a new idea to people. Not that that's a new thing. They've been using computers to make graphics since like the 70s, okay? But as a consumer, as just a regular person, this was a big deal. It was a big part of the marketing for the movie. And they're remaking it with Glen Powell. He's the hot new star now. I like him. He's pretty cool. He played the semi-bad guy on Top Gun 2. He played the Iceman character, kind of the foil. And he was good. I like him. He's got the charisma. He's been around for a while. He was actually in The Expendables 2, I think. Or maybe the third one. I forgot. They've made like 5 of those movies too. But yeah, Glen Powell, he also had that romantic comedy with Sydney Sweeney. Oh, she's so fine. I didn't see the movie though. I'm not really into romantic comedies, to be honest. But that did good. So he's, riding high right now. And it's a perfect time for them to bring out a Twister remake. Apparently they filmed the whole thing in Oklahoma. I'm in Texas. We do get tornadoes. That's a thing. And Oklahoma is actually right in something called Tornado Alley, which is this area that it's kind of like a not really a swath. Like if you took a knife and just scraped down like in the middle of the country, the bottom of it ends at the tip of Texas. So we get a little bit of it, but Oklahoma's right in it, and that's where the movie is set. And I saw this it was a YouTube ad, and it was promoting the movie, obviously, but the whole thing was like, we're shooting it on location, and so many times we had to leave, and we couldn't film because there was tornado stuff happening. And I guess, in my opinion, just film it somewhere else. Who cares if it's actually Oklahoma? I mean, I don't know. But whatever. And apparently a lot of the extras in the movie are real storm chasers. And they would go up to Glen Powell during lunch and be like, hey man, if you ever want to chase a storm with us, give us a call. I actually knew a guy who did that. I mean, he still does it, I think. This was in church when I was in, high school, and he had the van, he had all that crap on top, like the little sensors and whatnot, and he asked if I wanted. No. I told him, I was like, "Yo, you gotta let me go storm chasing." But then when he actually called me to do it, I got scared and I didn't go. But there's a story for you. I'm excited about the Twister remake. We'll see how it goes. It could suck. I don't really recognize the girl in it. She's hot though, but I don't know her. I was hoping there'd be more stars in it. I guess they can only afford Glen Powell. So he also did this Netflix movie about a hitman. I think it's just called Hitman. And he plays like all these different disguises. It's based on a true story about this policeman who would go undercover, and he had all these disguises, and he was actually really good at it, and he became known for it. This is the movie. It's Netflix. The guy who directed it is Richard Linklater. He does those movies with he does a lot of stuff, but what I know him from is he did a movie with Ethan Hawke, and where it's like him and his son and his wife, and every 10 years they film a sequel to it, and I think they've done like 3 of them. So in another few years they'll do the 4th one, and he gets the same actors and everything to have them grow up. It's an interesting idea. Not really my bag, but anyways, that's the director of Hitman, and this was the Netflix movie last year. We will be reviewing it on the Netflix podcast, the one called What's New to Netflix that I do with my buddy Miles. So check that out if you want to hear me go more into this movie, because we're going to review, I think we're going to review it. Okay, Netflix had a data dump. So Netflix is notorious for not sharing their numbers. A lot of streaming services and traditionally movie theaters and box office studios, they will talk about, oh, it got this many views and blah, blah, blah. Netflix never does that. Netflix is like, we got this movie coming out. We got this many subscribers. It's a publicly traded company, so we know how much money they make. But they don't really talk about how many views things get. They will say, oh, this movie got the most views in the last few years, stuff like that. But they won't give us the dirty details. And I don't know if it was a hack or what. Golf match, Meghan and Harry. So it doesn't explain the leak. I wish it did, so I'm not so sure how accurate this is. But it's kind of talking about the new stuff on Netflix. A lot of these cartoons they have on there I've never heard of. And they got these shows. The One Piece movie did well. Wednesday Adam. See, it says views, but it's like YouTube. So views aren't necessarily money because people pay monthly. That's why the monthly subscriber is a more accurate look at how well they're doing. But yeah, the One Piece movie did well. What else? Is that it? Then it's just a bunch of... This is a crap article. I hate it when you get an article and it's like 2 paragraphs. And I think, well, that's not an article. That's a blog post. Get out of here with that shit. Okay, I want to talk about the Chinese lunar lander. They got their little lunar rover on the dark side of the moon. The way it rotates, we only see one side of it. And they got a lot of rocks. I think they have them back now. They're examining them. And they put a flag on the moon like we did, or supposedly, if you believe the conspiracy theory. I don't really believe it, but it's fascinating, all the evidence they have. I think it's a chance. The chance that the American moon landing was fake is, I think it's greater than 0, but I think it's real. But I think what I've heard is that the cameras crapped out, so they just filmed it on the set, but we really did go to the moon. But what I'm getting at is China, they put their own flag there. And I've been saying this for years. We need to colonize the moon. We need to colonize space. We could join with China, kind of like they did in in the show Firefly. If we merge, but see, the thing is, we don't really need them economically per se, because I heard their economy's going to crap. I mean, everyone's is, but they're having a lot of trouble apparently. So I don't know. So this article talks about they had negative ions. So the atmosphere is wild, or lack thereof. All right. Once again, I really should read through these. Ion Maiden. These ions are created when charged particles from the sun pelt the lunar surface, causing particles there to react and become negatively charged. So we have an atmosphere that blocks this stuff. I guess it was messing up their sensors? Why am I reading this? That's also a waste of time. So I'm trying to stay under an hour because it makes me lower the quality of the MP3 if I go over an hour. So we're not going to get through all the articles. It is what it is. They found a hole on Mars. It might be a volcano. That's boring. I need to stick to entertainment and technology. Oh, there's this movie called on Netflix. It's called Baby Reindeer, and I don't know what it's about. I think it has something to do with a crazed fan who goes after like a YouTube influencer. And apparently it's based on a true story. And the girl who says it's based on is currently suing Netflix. A $170 million lawsuit. But Netflix, in the middle of all this, they posted the audition tape for the actor that played her. I almost want to watch the movie just because I keep hearing about it. But I guess it makes her look like a crazy fan, and she's upset about it. Oh, there's comments on this one. Nope, you have to sign up to read it. Nope. Sorry, Variety. This is an article about Elizabeth Debicki and Emma Corrin. I don't know who Emma Corrin is. She sounds like someone I've heard of. This is just my future wife, Elizabeth Debicki. I think she is a big star, or is going to be a big star. I feel like she should be now. She's been around. She was in that, what's that movie? That Gatsby movie with Leonardo. She was also the love interest in the Christopher Nolan movie, the one that sucked. The one with Twilight Man in it. What was that movie? Tenet? I hated it. Of course, I saw it with this girl that I didn't really like. And I think that, tainted my vision of the movie. So maybe I'll rewatch it. But she's in it. And I thought, why isn't she a big star? She should be. But then again, I'm biased. Alright, that's it for that one. What is this one? More stuff about the movie Hitman. They really should have tried harder. Okay, that's business. We don't need that. I gotta get to where I only put... Because the problem is I pull these articles up on my personal phone throughout the month. And I just look at articles on my lunch break and stuff. And then I just save them. And then I talk about them, right? But a lot of times I'll end up with stuff about stocks and business. And I like that stuff. But I'm trying to make the podcast a specific type of thing. So that's just me thinking out loud. Anyways, so the SpaceX Starship is the big fancy one. I think this is the one that is supposed to go to Mars. It looks so cool. Because when you see the NASA one, it looks like it's from the 70s. And the one that Elon has, it looks like it's from a sci-fi movie. Every time it launches, I watch the video and it looks so cool. And it's reusable, which is his whole thing. They're putting a better heat shield on it. I guess they're just testing it over and over because they're going to send it to Mars. And they figured out that we can get to Mars, okay? The problem is we don't have enough fuel to get all the people and the stuff to Mars. So what we're going to have to do is send our luggage basically to Mars. And then once it's stocked up with supplies, then we would send people. And apparently the trip would take like 2 months, which is not that crazy. If you think about, deep sea voyages, people might spend more than that back in the day. I don't know how long it takes to sail across the Atlantic or whatever, like one of those ocean liners, but, very interesting. Okay, I'm still following the trial for Young Thug. The latest update is that his lawyer found out that the judge had a secret meeting with one of the witnesses and probably told him to do what I want, which is super illegal. And the lawyer brought it up in the court. He was like, hey, judge, how'd you have a meeting with my witness? Blah, blah, blah. It's against this and that law, blah, blah, blah. And the judge was like, you're in contempt, arrest him. And he's such a boss. This is Young Thug's lawyer. The lawyer was like, all right, fine. He takes off his jacket and like rolls up his sleeves. And he sticks his hands out, together, like, cuff me. And it helped Young Thug's case by making the judge look bad. If it goes bad enough, they'll have to do a mistrial, which is usually good for the client, because then, like, the longer it takes, the more stuff can go wrong, the more likely they can, move to dismiss it and stuff like that. And so we'll see. They're trying to get Young Thug on RICO stuff, which is basically a money thing they used to get Al Capone. They couldn't catch him, so they said, okay, well, we'll get you on like tax evasion and embezzlement of money, because you can track money. It's a lot easier to build a court case when you have actual numbers and documents to prove what's happening, receipts, if you will. And so this is how they get criminals now. They say, okay, you've been embezzling funds and doing this criminal enterprise, which I think Young Thug was doing. I don't know. I like his music, so that's why I'm following it. But yeah, he's still in jail. It's been a year or two. Oh, here we go. Technology, right? DARPA has a quantum laser. It uses entangled photons, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care how it works. The fact is, it's a laser beam. It's a freaking laser beam. Prototype. It's a dimmer laser. Uses bind photons, blah, blah, blah. Shine through. So it's lasers that go through weather? Like if you can't see? Is it like for information? I know there's certain types of lasers where it's like an internet connection almost. Yeah, scientist prototype. Targeting tech. Oh yeah, targeting stuff like for a missile. And mapping tracking systems that use LiDAR. LiDAR is kind of like X-ray that goes through the ground, but it's not radiation. Okay. But, okay, that's boring. Anyways, they have a laser. That's cool. It goes real technical. I just wanted to talk about the cool laser. Anyways. Who is this? Some doctor? I got all my doctor stuff here. Okay, let's talk about Paramount, okay? Paramount is not doing well. They do have a streaming service, but it's not really working. And they're not making enough money. So far in the streaming wars, Netflix is winning. Disney Plus is only hanging on because of their deep pockets. They're burning through cash. They're not making any money. I think HBO Max, Max, I think they're going to survive simply because they have such good IP and they do their system well. They promote House of the Dragon and everything. Like, I recently activated my membership again just so I can watch House of the Dragon. And so I think they'll survive. You can't survive with just good titles. Obviously, that's why Disney is failing, because their old titles are not enough to get subscribers. But CEO, okay, it says they were gonna merge with a company called Skydance, but it didn't go through. Remember, Showtime. Sorry, Paramount owns Showtime and MTV as well. So like all that stuff. And the other day they pulled a lot of their archived videos from YouTube and the website, like a lot of the old MTV TRL, which it was like a day. It was like kind of like a, what was TRL? It had a guy named Carson Daly, and he would be at the record building in the middle of Times Square, and he would like introduce hit music videos and stuff, and they would have fans, and a lot of times some musical celebrity would show up and talk for a minute, some kind of mini interview, and they would have like fans come up and give a shout out to their friends and stuff like that. But all that's gone. They took it off. So I don't know. Yeah, it was called Skydance Media. I guess they really needed Skydance. I think it was the money. Now they're gonna go through cost cutting. This is Paramount. They're gonna cut $500 million in cost. So that's code for people are gonna get laid off. Paramount. The word now is that Paramount might get bought by Max, I think, which would actually be a good move for Max. Paramount's dead, but they could. What they need to do is just get really good distribution deals with Netflix and Max. I mean, Max is smart because they're making their own movies, obviously, but they started outsourcing their stuff to Netflix. They took Warrior and they put it on Netflix, and Netflix said, yeah, we like it. We want to buy another season. So they're filming a new show, a new season, but it's only going to be on Netflix, I guess. It might be on Max as well, but it might be exclusive to Netflix. If Netflix is smart, that's how they'll do it. All right, I'm making a note of what I'm going to title this episode. Horizon and Glen Powell. And I guess I'll mention something about Paramount. I think these are relevant. So yeah, they are not doing well. The management is doing damage control. Yeah, what? They are not doing well. Let's go to the next one. Okay, Elon Musk. He made it where you cannot see likes on Twitter, because apparently there were harassment campaigns where if people liked something, a bunch of other people on Twitter would get mad at them and try to get them fired from their job and stuff just because they liked a tweet. And so Elon was like, we're just going to hide your likes. Now nobody knows what you liked. I think that's not a bad idea. Because on Instagram, everybody can see your likes. And I think Facebook does. I haven't been on Facebook in years. I think it truly is dead. Which makes me think Zuckerberg was smart to buy Instagram from wherever. So the Facebook people own... Sorry, the Meta owns Instagram. So that's Meta. Just reading through this article... It's basically just talks about these harassment campaigns. Oh, now there's all this buzz about AI. And what is Apple going to do about it? Because everybody's doing AI. Last year, AI was the buzzword. And every announcement, every big trade show where a company does a presentation, they're like, AI, AI, AI. But everybody's looking at Apple because that movie Her was a very Apple-centric. I think it was meant to be Apple. And I've recently switched over to Apple from Android, and I love it. I'm never going back. And there is something noteworthy about how the things they make are special. They don't always work, but Windows doesn't always work either, okay? And I guess I'm a shill for Apple at this point, but I'm very excited to see what they do with AI, because everybody's making their own ChatGPT, their own large language model, but I think the Apple one, what they're doing is they're focusing more on Siri and how AI is going to be voice controlled and how it's going to be, because they don't look at your data. Other companies sell your data, and Apple vows not to, so that's why their AI kind of sucks, because it's not scraping all of your data, and because that's what makes AI really good, at least these language models. You know how whatever app you have, it knows what time you wake up and what you like to eat, and it uses that to sell ads. But with Apple, they're not collecting that stuff for ads, so they don't know. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to make a super powerful ChatGPT, but it's going to be local on your phone. The phone doesn't have to connect to the cloud to use it. And that way it can learn a lot about you, but it stays on the phone. It doesn't go to their servers or whatever. At least that's what they say. And I like it. The way it learns about me now, like with my maps on my iPhone, if I go somewhere a certain time of day, it'll start suggesting. It'll say, hey, you going to the gym right now? Here's the map. And I like it. I'm excited to see how smart Siri can be. I really like the idea of voice controls, because that is a huge barrier for people, especially if you're older and you don't know how to work the technology. So this voice controls, I'm very excited, but apparently they're not using OpenAI, or they are, but they're not. It's not going to be like an OpenAI official thing, but OpenAI does have the biggest large language models, like the most comprehensive, and that's apparently, I saw this whole Joe Rogan podcast where they explain that these things scale up. So if you have a bigger, stronger computer with a better database, that large language model will actually do better. It'll be quote unquote smarter. Okay, so we have another video AI called Luma AI. Luma AI is the company. The video creation AI is called Dream Machine. So all this stock media I pay for, I don't think I need to anymore, but we'll see. I don't really use it right now anyways. So it's called the Dream Machine. That's cool. It's supposed to rival AI Sora, which is the ChatGPT version of it, and something called Kling by Kuaishao. I kind of want to read about that, but it's very exciting. You got a video here. No, I don't want to put the music. It looks cool. It looks like a commercial for a video game almost, with this like cute Asian girl doing different stuff like scuba diving, hanging out by a train and in a spaceship. But this is all created by AI. Very exciting. And they got another one where it's like a house on fire, but it looks like some kind of high-end commercial. That's crazy. I mean, it's official. Court cases are going to be very difficult now, because it's not just pictures, it's actual video and then real-time face filters. It's crazy out here. It's crazy. So keep an eye on Luma AI. I want to talk about... So they have these movie theaters in my area called Alamo Drafthouse. And apparently they closed down because the franchise owner wasn't paying his bills or something. But I think Sony owns it. Some large, huge company that owns it. It was only franchised out, but they still own the stuff. So they just like bought the buildings back. And apparently they rehired all the people that got laid off. Now the reason these movie theaters are cool is because it's the ones where you get food while you watch it. Like there's an actual waiter that comes around It gives you food. But they play old movies and new movies in the last, 5 years, like, really suck. There's some exceptions, but most of them suck. And this movie theater just played old ones, like from the 90s and stuff. And it's such a genius business model. So I'm very excited that it's coming back. All right, we got 5 minutes left. I got to pick something important. We could talk about the Pope hiring comedians, which is more entertainment, I guess. Hold on, I'm scanning through. Oh, no. Here's what we're going to talk about. The most important thing. Eddie Redmayne and his creepy cabaret performance on, what was it, the Tony Awards? Okay, so the Tonys is like the Academy Awards, but for musicals. You know, super artsy-fartsy. And Eddie Redmayne, you know, big-time actor. He did Stephen Hawking in a movie. First time I saw him was he played Matt Damon's son in this, like, slow burn spy movie. Don't ask me the name. I can't remember. But I remember seeing him and thinking, okay, that guy's a star. And he won the Academy Award for, it must have been the Stephen Hawking movie, okay? You know what it is, a biopic that is long, and it's 1,000,000 hours, and it's real sad. He got an award for it. And he played from when he was young to when he's, like, in the wheelchair with the robot voice. And apparently, like, I think he's a good actor, but I think a lot of times the director needs to be like, bro, do another take. That's terrible. Because he did this movie that we reviewed on the Netflix podcast. It was based on a true story about this nurse that was injecting poison into IV bags and killing patients. He was like a serial killer. And Eddie Redmayne played him. And there's a scene at the end where they catch him and they're interrogating him. And they're like, why did you do it? And he has this like freak out. And he's like, why? I can't stop. Ah. And it was just, it was cringy. I think he is a world-class actor, but the director should have been like, yo, do another take, bro. You know? But so he was like the MC for the Tonys, but he starts out doing Cabaret, the famous Liza Minnelli movie, and I guess he plays the Liza Minnelli character. Okay, sure, whatever. I guess it's a guy playing the girl, fine, whatever, it's 2024. But he did it so creepy, and he has this terrible German accent. And I know it's set in Germany and she's supposed to be German, but maybe tone down the accent. I mean, is it supposed to be a fake German accent in the movie? Because I saw the Liza Minnelli movie years ago when I was a kid, and I don't really remember. I don't remember if does she do a fake German accent and then when she gets off stage she's normal? I remember the guy who played Basil Exposition in Austin Powers. He plays like the husband, I guess, or he's like the love interest. He's like a reporter or something. Anyways, Eddie Redmayne is so creepy. He's in this like dress with a weird like birthday hat, nylon gloves, and what looks like a flight attendant's bow scarf thing they wear around their neck, you know? But he's all sweaty and he's got like tons of stage makeup on, and they filmed this for TV, right? I watched it live on YouTube or somewhere. I mean, it's in 4K, so he looks terrible, and he's creepy and sweaty, and he's got this bad German accent, and everyone on the internet was making memes, and they were like, what the heck? And I dare say it worked. Everybody's talking about the Tonys. Everybody's talking about his performance. Love it or hate it, there's no such thing as bad press. Unless you kill someone or do a few other crimes we won't mention. But I just wanted to talk about Eddie Redmayne being creepy. And it looks like that's our time. I don't know if I missed anything important. Just more stuff about Horizon and Paramount. I saw the new Beverly Hills Cop 4 and it was great. Slightly lower budget than the other ones, but still pretty big movie. It was not rated G. They didn't pull a punch. It's rated R. It's coming out on Netflix. I watched a screening of it because my buddy had tickets. But it's great. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in it. They got Kevin Bacon. They got the whole cast from the first movie, the first few. Everybody came back, and it's just good stuff. Anyways, well, I guess that's the end of the time, y'all. You'll have to wait till next month. I know I'm a few days late this time. I promise to get the next episode out before the month is over. But if you want to support us, please go to our website, TemporarySpaceStudios.com. Check out my new short film, Blazer Gibson. Please go to lettucewearclothing.com. That's lettuce like the food, WEAR, clothing.com. We sell merch. If you click on the description for the episode, it'll take you there. If you click on the link for the show, it takes you to Acast because I'm too cheap to pay. But check that out. Check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/TemporarySpaceStudios. You're probably watching it on there or listening on Apple Podcasts. But check it out, Anyways, thanks for listening. This is the Temporary Space Show. I'm Jim Lettuce. Drive safe and shit.